Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Sacred Sisterhood podcast. My name is Mary Wright. I am your show host, and I was planning on doing a couple of podcast episodes this past 2 weeks, but to be honest with you, I have been so wiped out with ascension symptoms that I've just really had to honor my body's need for rest and integration at this time. But now I'm starting to feel a little bit more human again and able to create again and serve my community and radiate out my light. It's been quite an intense process as I've been receiving a lot of recoding, a lot of retemplating to prepare me for the level of energetic containers that I am to bring out this year in 2021 to serve star seeds and light workers or future light workers in really reclaiming their power, really standing in their power so that they can bring their full light to the world, their full magic to the world without being inhibited by self-doubt, worthiness wounds, the witch wounds, and so forth. So it has been intense. I've been experiencing a lot of ascension fevers, ascension flus, but feeling like knowing that I'm not actually ill. But also feeling so much gratitude to be this tapped into experiencing the energies that are coming into the planet and the energies that are radiating up from Gaia, and being that vessel that those two energies meet in to, that mergence of heaven and earth. We are the bridge. Our bodies are the bridge between both. And it's like that glorious union between the Father Sky and Mother Earth, that sacred union, the sacred marriage between the masculine and feminine within us, expressing through us as Christ Sophia consciousness. And I'm just so deeply grateful that just so grateful, to be here, to be part of this, to be witnessing what's all happening on the planet, and learning how to keep my heart open and continue to open my heart when we are faced off with such intensity and such horrors on the planet right now, and allowing myself to be in states of grief and sadness and heaviness when, that's where I am, where I'm in those ebbs and the flows and the valleys of clearing out that density, clearing out and witnessing the old as, we're watching the dismantling, as well as allowing the excitement for new earth to uplift me. So today I wanted to share with you something that's been really coming through strongly: how to shift out of surviving into thriving. So survival is a consciousness grid which says that as long as our basic needs are met, nothing more, as long as those basic needs are taken care of, we can survive, and that we should be happy with that, which is great for our ancestors and such. But we're in a time where we are able to really flourish and thrive and expand into these new earth frequencies. And for so many light workers, for so many starseeds, it's like we really hold ourselves back from giving ourselves full permission to be happy and receive the life that we've created and the life that we're creating. Because there's like this fear that, well, what if we lose it at all? Or what if we lose it all? What if I let myself be happy? Then I actually have something to lose. There's this, perhaps there's some guilt because, maybe we're seeing friends and family going through a lot with, of course, the changes that are happening on the planet. And yet perhaps you still have a job and you're actually doing really, really well financially, and you're still, able to put some money away and buy what you want and so forth. And, you've been able to really maintain your health through this, and you're actually thriving through this past year. For some people, there's a bit of guilt there that they don't want to give themselves permission to be happy when there's so much suffering in the world. So this survival consciousness, this is a template that we've carried forward from our ancestors, from our upbringing, maybe, when you think about when you first moved out of your parents' house, and then you're like in college and you're living off of Mr. Noodles and Kraft Dinner and learning how to budget and so forth. And quite often we carry those stories that, we just have to take care of our basic needs and that's it, until we really become aware of where we're blocking ourselves from flourishing, from thriving, from expanding into our full potential. And perhaps you're like me and you're a traveler, you're a bit nomadic. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story. When I was 24, I believe I was 24, maybe I was 23. I had already, I kind of like checked off all of the boxes. I was raised in Alberta, Canada, which is it's an oil field. It's an oil field culture, farming culture, ranching culture. It's very materialistic. Alberta is probably one of the more richer provinces in Canada. And so, we can get really caught up in, okay, by the time, that we graduate college, we need to be buying a house and then getting married. And there's like all of these boxes for us to check that's very much culturally conditioned into us. So by the time that I was 23 or 24, I already had bought a house. I'd purchased it with my long-term partner at the time. But I mean, I didn't even know who I was at that point. I hadn't gone through my spiritual awakening, and so when I did go through my awakening, I realized that there was this whole world out there that I wanted to see. I wanted to be able to travel and experience new things. And this free spirit within me was really waking up, and I could see how I'd really like limited myself at a very young age to this mortgage, to this long-term relationship and so forth. And so I ended up pulling the plug on all of it, and I started traveling. So I pretty much went nomadic. I went very, very minimalistic, and I moved into my parents' basement, which I hadn't lived in since I was 16, because I did move out of my parents' house when I was quite young. And this allowed me to be able to travel. And so in that year or two that I was traveling, I wasn't buying anything extra. All of my money was going to travel. I was being very, very minimalistic, of course, because I had walked away from this mortgage. I walked away from our couch and our TV and like all of our furniture and our electronics. I just like left that in that life with that partner. I left that relationship because, he was a good man. He was a good man. But he did have some narcissistic tendencies, and I was outgrowing him very, very, very quickly. So I left like everything. I pretty much just took my dog, my SUV. I took my basic minimum stuff, walked away from that, moved into my parents' house, and stayed there for a couple of years while I was traveling. And so, when you're traveling, so that you can experience the most, you're not going to like go super all out on the level of Airbnb that you buy. You're not going to be eating out every single day. You're going to be cooking your own foods and whatnot, being mindful of how much money that you're spending so that you can stretch your dollar as far as possible so you can experience as much as possible. So travelers kind of have like this survival mindset. As long as we got our food, we got shelter, we got our backpack on our back, like that's it. We're not going to be spending money on a bunch of souvenirs and so forth. We're just going to minimize it. And because that was the mindset I was in, I was able to see a lot of countries in a short period of time, right? And then when I moved across the world from Canada to Austria to be with my now husband, an Irishman that I met while on vacation in Cuba, long story, beautiful story. Of course, like once again, I was leaving my life. All I took was my dog, Lila, who today is her 11th birthday, just so you know. So it's a big day here in our house. So I moved with Lila across the world with 3 suitcases, and those suitcases had my dog's food in it, my crystals, my books, and the bare basic clothes. So I started over again at age 26, I believe. And so it took me a while before I really gave myself permission to kind of root down where I'm at now. Because it was kind of like I still had this traveler mindset that I was going to pull up my roots any moment and be like, I wanted to be able to just pick up and go at any point of time type thing. And so I was operating at this survival consciousness for quite some time without even really realizing it, which was blocking me from actually fully flourishing to my full capacity. So, if you're, as I'm talking about this, if you're recognizing where you've been blocking yourself from really giving yourself permission to thrive, to flourish, that's totally okay. A lot of us are doing it in more of a subconscious way. So as I'm speaking these words, like, you might be starting to have some aha moments. So just give yourself grace if you're like kind of realizing like, oh shit, I have been operating from survival, which is just like another kind of flavor or essence of poverty and scarcity. Like, poverty and scarcity are a key point or a key foundation of, the survival consciousness. It's all root chakra stuff, and so anyways, give yourself grace, give yourself, be gentle with yourself if you're recognizing that you've been operating from this place. And I'm going to give you 3 of my favorite energetic shifts that you can implement every single day to support you in shifting out of survival into thrival. Because you have to ask yourself, at what point in your life are you actually going to allow yourself to flourish, to give yourself full permission to thrive and receive the life that you already created and the life that you are creating? Right? Are you going to just keep waiting until your life looks like a certain idealistic way before you allow yourself to fully receive it? Well, guess what? You're not going to be able to create that in your reality if you're not feeling grateful and happy with what you've already created so far. It's like you're always future projecting your energy out into a future timeline and not fully receiving this now moment. So, if you've been operating from this survival consciousness, deep breaths, totally okay. Let's shift this. And your outer circumstances do not need to shift in order to shift from survival into thrival. It's actually shifting your inner energetic state so that you can begin to fine tune and pick up the thriving, flourishing, abundant frequencies that are surrounding you, because they're there. They're already there. We live in an abundant universe. It is your natural state to be abundant. We just have to retrain ourselves to really pick up and fine tune into that frequency so that we can receive that frequency, so we can expand that frequency. Okay. So this is you shifting into a whole new vibratory field of the new earth abundance that's available to us, which is plentiful, which is cup runneth over. Okay. So number 1 is to, in your meditations, visualize yourself unplugging from old 3D consciousness of survival, of scarcity, of poverty, of slavery consciousness, and then pull all your cords back, seeing them dissolve, seeing those consciousness grids dissolving, and then see yourself plugging in to the 5th dimensional abundance grid that is operating within Gaia, within the planet. And just see your cords just cording, grounding yourself into that grid, and then feeling yourself being filled up by this 5D abundance grid, because it's there. Even if you don't feel like you have tuned into it, it's there. You just have to claim it, open yourself up to receiving it, clear away all of the blockages, the veils, the illusions that have been keeping you from being able to tap into it, and receive it. Do you like my sound effects? I'm big on sound effects. Anybody that's worked with me knows that I'm like, that's all I do is sound effects. Okay, so number 2, meditate from your heart, build that love energy in your heart space, and then begin to see these golden spirals circling out from your heart, almost like you're meditating in the very center of like the seed of life, which the seed of life, that is the universal symbol of creation. And so what I like to do is I like to see myself in the center of a seed of life, and those spirals beginning to spiral out from my heart. And each spiral out whatever it touches, I find gratitude in that, and I see the abundance in that. So for example, if I'm meditating in my bed and I begin to, build the love energy in my heart and begin to spiral that out, my first and foremost thing that I'm going to be grateful for is my physical vessel, my body, this vehicle that my consciousness gets to ride in. I'm grateful for her vitality. I'm grateful for how well she operates. I'm grateful for her being the vehicle that I get to experience a human experience in. So then I'm going to find gratitude in my bed. So just recently I completely upgraded my bedding. I made it super royal and queen-esque with deep reds and golds and deep purples. And so I like to say that I sexified my bed because it really does feel like a royal bridal chamber bed. So I find gratitude in my bedding. I find gratitude in the big portrait that's above our bed of me and my husband having our first kiss as man and wife at our wedding in Spain. I find gratitude that all of our friends and family were there in Spain on our beachside wedding. Then I find gratitude for the painting that's beside my bed that I painted when me and my husband first met and fell in love. It's a painting of us, our worlds colliding as one, when we were in the ocean together under the full moon. So it's a painting of us kissing in the ocean under the moon. And then I find gratitude I have a picture of us in front of the Eiffel Tower. We'd just gotten engaged, and I find gratitude in that. And then, of course, my dog Lila is always right next to me meditating too. And so I find gratitude for her. She's been with me for 11 years. And so I find gratitude for her health and for her spunk and just everything that she brings into my life. And then I just keep spiraling out from her bedroom into the rest of our house, just finding gratitude, for my new phone, for the laptop, then for my husband. And then I find gratitude for our downstairs neighbor and then their dog. And then I find gratitude for, the nearby dog park and the nearby waterfall. And I just keep spiraling those circles out. And until I get to the point where I'm surrounding the entire planet, I'm finding gratitude for my friends and family in Canada. I'm finding gratitude for the oceans, for the stars, for the sun, for the moon, and I just allow that to build and amplify. Okay. So number 3, ask the angel of abundance or goddess of abundance, whichever you resonate with most, to bless your lensing so you can begin to easily pick up the abundance that surrounds you. So if you've ever been to the eye doctor and they're checking your prescription and they keep they keep flipping the lens over to see which one's better, that's how I imagine this to be when I call in either the abundance angel or the goddess of abundance. And to me, the goddess of abundance, if I'm not specifically calling in Lakshmi, which is the Hindu goddess of prosperity, the goddess of abundance to me, she's got gold all over her and she's just super fly. Love her. I'll place my hands out, palms up, and I'll begin to receive a blessing from her. And then I just begin to see the lensing shifting in my eyes so I can begin to be fine-tuned to pick up the abundance that's surrounding me. So, I was raised in a family that very much was operating from survival consciousness. I grew up on a farm in the prairies of Alberta, which you have to think the winters were quite harsh and cold and the summers were very hot and dry. And so there was always this survival mentality that we just have to make enough money to, pay our bills for the year and then roll over for the next year. And that was kind of the cycle. And, my family very much on my dad's side were kind of the glass half empty, kind of. That was their mindset. They can be very, very negative. And so that's what I was raised in. And that was what I was very much programmed. So when I first started in the personal development world, I don't know, 7 years ago, that was a huge reprogramming for me to do, was to change my nature, my natural habit to always look at the negative side of things to begin to look into the positive side of things. And so maybe you've experienced something similar with your upbringing, that it was kind of hope for the best, but plan for the worst. And so that's kind of deeply embedded in us. So it's like we need to retrain ourselves to actually begin to see and pick up and fine tune to all of the plentiness that's there, all of the amazing things that's there, that's available for us. So by calling in the angel of abundance or goddess of abundance to shift our lensing, it helps to begin to fine tune your awareness to what is available rather than what is not available. And when you shift into that place, you become a vibrational resonance with abundance. And so you just become naturally more magnetic to your desires. You become a more powerful, masterful co-creator. Okay. And number 4, I always tell my clients this, is that we can energy shift all day long, but if you're not actually anchoring it into the physical, you're going to have a hard time seeing it reflecting in your physical reality. So number 4 is to anchor it into the physical. So what I encourage you to do after you've done some of this energy shifting, which I encourage you to play with this every single day. It's a great way to start your day in an open heart, in an abundance mindset. And then after you've done so, take action on it from this new abundant state of mind, from this new thriving state of mind, this new flourishing state of mind. So one of my clients, for example, she was talking to me about how there was like this sheepskin rug that she would just absolutely love to buy. And her too, like she, very similar to me, kind of a nomadic type, a traveler type of person, but with COVID and such, she's actually rooting down somewhere, and she has noticed that she's been holding herself back from really filling her home with nice things because she's a traveler. She could be picking up and leaving right away, but that sheepskin rug, she's going to find so much delight, luxury, and abundance in that, and joy in that it's going to increase her vibration and continue to amplify her into new levels of abundance. And when we were working on this, she said, well, the money actually has already come for that. It's actually the exact amount as this sheepskin rug. And sure enough, right after we did some shifting around abundance, that week she went and got herself that sheepskin rug. And so it's kind of like the same thing with me sexifying my bed and updating all my bedding to reflect the colors, the royal colors that really call to me now. I wake up in a queen bed and then go to bed in a queen bed. And I'm not talking about a queen size bed. I recognize North Americans would know that as a queen size bed, but I mean like a royal bed. And so it's this vibration. I make love in a queen bed, in a royal, regal bed. And that's me flourishing in my royal template. That's me flourishing in my thriving template. So to anchor all of the shifts that we've made into the physical reality, buy something for your home or even an outfit that is frivolous. Something that that you will love, that you will really indulge in that frequency, that it's going to make you feel so lavish, so luscious. It's like you really celebrating the Leo energy, that luxurious energy. And so that's how we can begin to continue to reprogram ourselves to greater states of abundance. But just be sure that when you do buy this thing, that you're not operating from like a contracted scarcity poverty state where when whatever it is that you buy, that you all of a sudden get shifted back into, oh shit, like I shouldn't have done that. The money's not flowing, et cetera, et cetera. Do it from a place of expansion. Be in a place of abundance. Really celebrate the experience of purchasing whatever it is that you're purchasing. And then when you bring it home, just really like celebrate it. Get excited about it. Really allow yourself to receive it. Okay, so I really hope that today's transmission deeply served you, and I hope that you begin to put these exercises into play immediately. Don't wait, put it into play immediately so that you can really integrate and expand into your desired reality. And of course, if you're feeling like you could really use some support this year in expanding into what it is that you desire to create for yourself, I want to invite you into my newest private mentorship container called Claim Your New Earth Throne, Crowning Queens of Masterful Co-Creation. So this is a massive quantum power upgrade into your new Earth Royal template.
This is to support you in claiming your magnificence, your brilliance, and your magic so that you can powerfully radiate your light and gifts out into the world uninhibited and unfiltered. So many women come to me to work with me that are so incredibly powerful. There are huge lighthouses, but they don't recognize that within themselves, which dilutes their medicine that they bring to the world. So it is my sole purpose to support women in owning their authentic power. So Claim Your New Earth Throne is a choice between 3 months or 6 months of mentorship, depending on where you're at in your journey. In this time that we spend together, we will be focusing on retemplating your energy field, lifting and shifting the outdated templates to encode you with your new earth templates of power, abundance, divine union, creativity, claiming your light, your soul purpose, and joy. We're going to be focusing on timeline clearing, dismantling the old stories and timelines that have been draining your power and energy, such as the priestess and the witch wound. We're going to be working on womb healing, because within your womb, you hold your soul codes and dream seeds and your own personal compass. We're going to be working on divine feminine and masculine healing and unification, which is a foundation for everything that I do in the world. We're also going to be working on higher self-embodiment and quantum creation to assist you in expanding into your desired reality. So this is an intuitive process to meet you where you're at, to assist you in claiming your new earth queendom. Also included in this container are free gifts of the Grounded Starseed 3-week digital course, which I created this past summer, as well as the Starseed Activation Bundle, which is a set of meditations and galactivations to support you in connecting with your home planet, as well as really supporting you and aligning with your soul purpose and soul's mission at this time. So if you feel that stir within you that this would really benefit you with where you're at this year, reach out to me. I'm pretty easy to find. I'm on Facebook, Mary Wright, WRIGHT. You can email me at coachmaryens, ENNS, @gmail.com. That's my maiden name. You can find me on Instagram at Mary J Coaching. You can find me on my website, maryjcoaching.com. I'm everywhere. It's easy to find me. I encourage you to reach out and we can hop on a call to see if we're the right fit for each other, so that I can support you in helping you claim your power, claim your new earth throne, your new earth crown. So on that note, I love you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And I hope you have a brilliant rest of your week. And may you expand into your thriving template. And may we all dismantle that survival template that we've been carrying from our ancestors, from our lineage. I love you. You are so, so blessed.